And I want you to see, by looking at this graph, the important information that it holds. When you compare the different waves, the focus of the different waves, you can see, wow, okay, that helps me understand. Look at the literature at the top of each tier and look at the focus on the bottom. See, if you're reading any of the literature at the top and you're confusing what's at the bottom, you're going to mess up understanding what you're reading, right? In other words, look at the literature at the top. So second wave, that's Paul's authentic letters. The focus is on the bottom. Notice how the focus is different on the fourth wave? Now look up at the top. What literature do we see at the top? We see Acts. Isn't Paul featured heavily in Acts? Isn't that where we learn about his adventures and what a jet setter he is and how awesome? Wait a minute, hold on. There's some indications on this graph that show us that the way Luke spins Paul and makes him look might not be Paul as he historically was, because the concerns had changed. Notice in Mass, when we go to Mass, we hear the letter to the Colossians or the letter to the Ephesians. And who wrote that? By Saint Paul, right? But is that a scientific statement the lector is giving us? Or is that a respect of the Pauline tradition? Did Paul actually author that? How could he have? He was dead by the time Colossians and Ephesians were written, and Hebrews was written. And the concerns that were going on in the Jesus groups at that time were different. And the vocabulary is different. And the ecclesiology, the churches, the Jesus groups, theologies of itself and how to structure and organize because of those concerns had changed and evolved and developed. And it's reflected in the literature. Even though it claims to be from Paul, it's not Paul. Somebody writing under his pseudonym. And why am I showing you this? Because you could take all the New Testament literature on these four waves and find them at the top, but you won't understand that literature if you collapse the concerns of each of the communities into one thing, as if they're all seeing things exactly the same. I want you to see that over a continuum of time and in different places in the Mediterranean world, the New Testament communities had different concerns. They had different problems. They had different crises. And there was change. It was one, but there was change. Right from the beginning, our church evolves. It's not all the same. It's not all uniform. Authority figures in the church in the fourth wave are very different than authority figures in the church in the second wave. Do you see that? Remember, in the first wave, we looked at Jesus and his followers that were co-workers, followers. But by the time you hit the second wave, even people in the first wave, having experienced the risen one, would consider themselves disciples and apostles. Because now they see Jesus not just as a healer and a prophet, somebody proclaiming the theocracy. Now they see him as the risen Lord and Messiah that sends them forth, right? And then by the time they're dead, now they're martyred saints, right? So you begin to see them, whoa, you even have a community in the fourth wave, the Johannine community, that now has undergone several internal changes and now doesn't even see those original followers of Jesus as apostles at all, because it's no longer evangelizing. It's no longer going forth. So now they're just lifelong disciples. Are you beginning to see what I'm saying? These communities at different times in different places have different outlooks on Jesus. Fundamentalists can't see this.